I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling vlogger who always tells it like it is. And boy, did I tell it at the greatest Royal Rumble, huh? 8-2 were my predictions. I even predicted Braun Strowman would win the Royal Rumble and come in the 40s. And I'm giving myself an extra pat on the back because I did say that John Cena would need 3 AAs to put down Triple H and would survive a pedigree. And that's exactly what he did. Ha ha! Now watch me ruin it with Backlash. This is the first dual brand Backlash since 2009. And I kind of miss that. I kind of think that's a bad idea because less of the talent of each show gets put in. But what are you going to do? I guess they were losing money off the 19 pay-per-views a year, so they decided to go back to 12, or 13 in this case. So let's see if I can screw up my record. Here are my predictions for Backlash 2018. Let's start with the kickoff show. Bayley versus Ruby Riott of the Riott Squad. You know, they have to pull the trigger on this Bayley Banks thing sooner or later, somewhere down the line, because this is getting monotonous. This has been going on for several months. Who's going to be the heel here? Is Bayley going to finally give up her hugger status, or is Banks going to finally go back to the dark side? Either way, I would suspect that Banks is going to be in Bayley's corner, and that she's going to screw it up somehow, and I think Ruby Riott is going to win. Short and sweet, because it's kickoff. Alright, to the non-title matches. Tag team match, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Oh, Kevin, oh, Sami, why do you want to antagonize these people? First it was Shane and Daniel Bryan, and now it's Kurt Angle. Well, you're in deep trouble, man, because you got Strowman, you're going to get these hands, and Bobby Lashley in his first pay-per-view in over 10 years. So they both have something to prove. And yet, Owen and Zayn, they're smart. Sure, Strowman and Lashley may not be the brightest tools in the shed. Owen and Zayn aren't that far behind, but they are smarter than the two big men. And I get the feeling there's some way, somehow, these two best friends are going to weasel their way into a victory. So this is my bold prediction for Backlash. Owens and Zayn will beat, somehow, Strowman and Lashley. If I'm wrong, then Owens and Zayn gets pummeled. It's win-win. Next up, Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. What is it about giants who want to become bullies? I mean, for God's sakes, Big Show did it, and now Big Cass? You know, Big Cass just hasn't been the same since since his buddy got kicked out for showing his little amores, if you know what I mean. And yet, I kind of like this. I kind of like this angle here. Daniel Bryan coming back from 3.5 years of, well, non-work, let's put it that way. And Big Cass coming back from 7 or 8 months of rehab. So, I can understand why Big Cass would feel a bit jealous. Everyone's all yes, yes, yes. But let's face it, like I said, without his buddy, Big Cass isn't going anywhere. And yet, I think Big Cass deserves a bit more of a push than Bryan does. I hate to say it, but I get the feeling that somehow Big Cass will pull this off. So that's my prediction. Big Cass will win over Daniel Bryan. Cross-promotional match. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe. Not for the Universal Championship or the Intercontinental Championship, for that matter. I don't like Roman Reigns. I think I told you that before. I'm not much of a fan of his. They keep trying to pull the trigger on him. They keep trying to main event him, and it's just not working out. Samoa Joe, again, back from injury. He deserves a push. I think it's going to be a very interesting, very physical, very violent match. And it should be the match of the night. But as much as I hate Roman Reigns, I think Roman is going to get the push. Samoa Joe is going to have to go back to SmackDown and try to get the United States Championship or something. But this feud ends here. This is going to be the last time they face until at least Survivor Series, I think. So yeah, Roman Reigns will beat Samoa Joe. I hate to say it, but that's what's going to happen. Alright, title matches. SmackDown Women's Championship. Carmella defends against Charlotte. Now, Carmella can say, oh, I did it all by myself, nobody helped me. But just the fact that she is aligning herself with the Iconics kind of says that, yeah, she knows that the Iconics helped her greatly. So now it's going to be 3-on-1 unless Charlotte can get some people by her side, which I doubt. I don't think Asuka or Becky Lynch are going to be by her side to counter the Iconics. And even if they are, it's not going to help. I think Charlotte is going to win this match, but it's going to be by disqualification or countout. I think Carmella's going to do whatever it takes to hang on to that belt. And let's face it, she's just not qualified to remain champion for very long. She's kind of like the Jinder Mahal of the women's division. She can't win without friends. So yeah, Charlotte will win, but Carmella keeps the title. Raw Women's Championship match. Nia Jax defends against Alexa Bliss. In much the same way that Carmella can't win without the Icons, Bliss cannot win without Mickie James or other help. But as we've seen in WrestleMania, Nia Jax is no dummy. She will take out whoever it takes to get Bliss one-on-one. Nia Jax worked damn hard to get this title. I think she should have won it at last year's WrestleMania in that six-pack challenge. But she didn't, so she got it now, and she deserves to keep it. So I'm saying Nia Jax will win against Alexa Bliss, and anyone who gets in her way gets done in beforehand. United States Championship match. Jeff Hardy defends against Randy Orton. Ooh, this is going to be a good match. They are both in their prime. They are both well-liked. It's going to be basically speed versus brawn. Some of the best fights have been speed versus brawn as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not saying Randy Orton doesn't deserve the United States Championship, but I think Jeff Hardy deserves to keep it even more. After all, he lost his brother to Bray Wyatt, to the Woken side, and he deserves some recognition by himself. After all, he was a former world champion. Of course, Orton's a former 14-time world champion. Somehow, in that case, it doesn't seem like the United States title is worthy of either of them, but as long as it's there, I'm going to give it to Jeff Hardy. He deserves to hang on to it. So Jeff Hardy beats Randy Orton in one hell of a match. Intercontinental Championship match. Seth Rollins defends against The Miz. And much like Carmella and much like Bliss, The Miz really can't do anything without the Miztourage by his side. And unless they show up at the match, begging to be taken back, I don't see it happening. Especially since Rollins is on Raw now and Miz is on SmackDown. Again, there's no rule saying that a secondary title can't be put on, both secondary titles can't be on one show, but I still don't see that happen. I don't see a WWE television championship anytime in the future, so I got to give it to Rollins. Rollins over Miz. It's going to be an interesting match, but it's pretty much set in stone here. And finally, the WWE Championship match, no disqualification. Once again, AJ Styles takes on Shinsuke Nakamura. I think that Shinsuke has a very unhealthy obsession with AJ Styles' little phenomenals, if you will. I don't know why, I really don't. But if any kind of match is going to play to that kind of advantage, that kind of obsession, it's going to be this one. Now Nakamura can go boom, boom, boom anytime he wants, and as many times as he wants. So for God's sakes, once again, AJ, wear a damn cup! That's your only defense. Pardon. But AJ Styles is much too smart for Nakamura. And the double countout disappointment from Greatest Royal Rumble will not happen again. This is going to be a great match. It's going to be a very brutal, possibly bloody match. But in the end, I think AJ Styles has the advantage because I think he's been in more of these kind of matches than Nakamura could ever dream of. So, I'm going with it. Nakamura will lose to AJ Styles. Alright, recap. Ruby Riott over Bayley. Owens and Zayn over Strowman and Lashley. My bold prediction. Cass over Bryan. Reigns over Joe. Charlotte over Carmella, but by disqualification or countout. Jax over Bliss. Hardy over Orton. Rollins over Miz. And AJ Styles over Nakamura. Bank on it. I'm Chris Wolvie, the wrestling vlogger who always tells it like it is. See ya.